Another day, another Real Madrid rumor. Just yesterday we saw the huge news about Rodri finally being the target for Florentino Pérez. Even though he didn't want him at first, we are looking in to sign him. And today there is more rumors about none other than Michael Olise to Real Madrid. Of course, the Bayern superstar who has been heavily linked to Real Madrid. But the transfer has a little bit, the hype has died down, I would say, a little bit in the few days past this, but especially when the Rodri news were coming up. Olise was, just brushed under the carpet. But once again, Kylian Mbappé, the agent, and Tchouaméni, both pushing for this deal to happen. Because, of course, I think they have a really good relationship, of course, from the French national team and from the academies. Which I know that Mbappé did not play with Olise in the academies, but they have played so many games together, even at this age. Even with Olise, not making it in the youngest of ages, and Tchouaméni, of course, once again, the international. Kylian Mbappé has informed Florentino Pérez that he has managed to convince Michael Olise to join Real Madrid. Guys, you can never know what's gonna happen. You can never know what's gonna happen. Mbappé is pushing very hard for Olise to join Real Madrid. During the World Cup, Mbappé actively courted Olise every day, explaining to him how well the two could harmonize on the pitch at Real Madrid. Hey, Mbappé is just looking to better his career at Real Madrid. And I see it, bro. I'm not against it. I'm not against it because their connection is definitely special. We could have seen this World Cup that Michael Olise has actually broken the record, or I think equaled the record, in the most assists ever in a single World Cup, which he has either surpassed or leveled Pelé, which is a crazy achievement, honestly. He assured Olise that Real Madrid needs him. Furthermore, Mbappé rates to him about life in Madrid, the exclusive restaurants and the warm weather, which is, of course, better than Munich. If you have ever been to Munich and to to Madrid, the cities, hey, we all know. Munich, you could genuinely describe Munich, gray, cheeks, boring. Madrid, sunny. And the other stuff. Yeah, I don't really know what goes on there because the money you have to spend for taxes, that ain't for me. But it's sunny, guys. Let's be honest, he's sunny. Now, today, we're not just gonna talk about if Michael Olise is gonna join Real Madrid. I'm, of course, going to give my opinion on that. How much would he be? Because we have already talked about so much about his transfer, value, which is going to be astronomical. His wages, which, of course, could be on the same level as many other players in this team, which I don't think would be, that much of a deal for Real Madrid because our wage structure is already massive and we do have to spend a lot of wages to keep these superstars at the club. But then we're going to, of course, look at the lineup, the predicted lineup. I did one yesterday with Rodri. Now I'm going to include both Rodri and Michael Olise in that lineup, but because it changes so much. It changes our midfield, the number 10 position, then the right wing position, because there's so much players that if Michael Olise is actually signing for Real Madrid, they're just going to be missing out. Let's be honest, guys. Endrick, Arda Güler, Valverde could be missing out on game time. There is so much to talk about. Before we get into that, though, one last thing is that Michael Olise believes his chances of winning the Champions League would be significantly higher at Real Madrid than at Bayern Munich. And who doesn't believe that? We have the biggest chance of winning the Champions League year in, year out, even though we have been cheeks for the last 2 seasons. We all know this. We have won two seasons trophyless. We have, both seasons in the UCL have been a elimination in the quarterfinals by Arsenal and then Michael Olise's Bayern. But if you look at the history and our record, even though we have gone so many years without winning the UCL, we always somehow come back. And when we do win the UCL, the one UCL, it's usually followed by, a year of not winning and then winning, or the 3-peat years, or winning and then not winning and then winning again. That's just in our DNA. We do this. Yeah, it's either a huge gap in between the UCL winners, or we just win it back to back maybe, or we win it one season and then we have a shit season, then we win it. I understand Michael Olise completely. And Bayern Munich, we have to be honest, they always do well. They're always the favorites for the UCL, but they always finish around the quarterfinals, semifinals, and when they get into the final, it's usually a good one for them, but they have also lost the UCL final in their history. Olise is now pushing for talks with Bayern bosses. He wants to see how the club plans to remain competitive in the Champions League, which Bayern, I don't think have made too many signings outside of Nathaniel Brown and Saibari, which I think are good signings, but once again, do they change the team so much to the point where Bayern is now going to be competing for the Champions League? Because yes, they beat us in the Champions League. They only lost out in the semi-final to the winners, PSG. But Bayern, I just don't know. There's something about them in the UCL where they just always miss out by one step. You know, that one goal or that one clearance. You know, that's always their story in the Champions League. Now, after these talks, he will decide whether to submit a transfer request or not. Do I believe he will actually push for this move this summer? I genuinely don't know. Honestly, I think he will maybe put in a word, you know, for Real Madrid to Bayern that, guys, if you don't give me a better contract, I might be looking, you know, at the option of Real Madrid. And if it came to it, if they sent you a bid, I would be really open to leaving and, you know, changing my my surroundings and going to Madrid, because I think I have a better, you know, chance to winning bigger trophies, and I think my career would be better at Real Madrid. Sure, he can do that. But do I think he's going to be like Isaac and he's going to be like, if you don't let me go, I'm not going to play. I'm not even going to train with you guys. That's definitely not Michael Olise. If you have ever seen Michael Olise in any interview, he is so shy, and I don't believe he would do this to Bayern Munich at this stage of his contract. I think he has 2 years left on his contract, or 1 year left on his contract. No, definitely more than 1 year, sorry. But the contract is not crazy, and that's why I think Bayern have a huge leeway where they can just renew his contract and just put this out of, you know, completely out of Real Madrid's hands, because if Michael Olise signs a new deal, there is no possible way for us to get him this season, or I think even next season, because the wage and the transfer fee would be just astronomical. The wages now wouldn't be that high because his contract at Bayern was just of the fact that he was really leaving from Crystal Palace, and it wouldn't be that high. But yeah, honestly, I don't know, guys. Is he going to join Real Madrid? I would give it a 40% he does, 60% he doesn't. That's all I'm gonna say for now. I don't think, you know, that is a really high possibility. On the other hand, Rodri, I think there is like a 80-70% possibility that he actually joins. On Michael Olise, I am much less confident. Now, if we get into the lineup, we have of course done this multiple times, and I have said previously, yesterday's video, if you want to watch it, it's going to be right here. I talked about the lineup, how it will look like with Rodri and Konate and these guys. So if you want to watch that and, you know, my full breakdown on every single player, you can watch it in the Rodri video right here. I'm just going to fill out the whole lineup, and I'm just going to talk about how Michael Olise, you know, puts differences in the lineup and how he affects other players, because I have talked about every single player in the video yesterday in that Rodri version of this video. Now, in goal, it's of course going to be Courtois. I don't have to say anything, the best keeper in the world. Then I have picked Trent, Cucurella, of course. Cucurella coming off a crazy World Cup. I think we have made a sensational decision in signing him. Then we're going to have Huijsen. If I can spell, my cousin, if you know, you know, Dean Huijsen and Konate, which I think it's self-explanatory. Are you gonna sign Konate for a free on that sort of wage if you're not gonna start him or give him chances from the start of the season? I don't think so. I think this is gonna be the starting back four. I have talked about it, as I said in yesterday's video. Now it's gonna be for me Rodri and Fede Valverde or Tchouaméni. Today I'm actually going to do Fede Valverde, because I have seen a lot of people say that Fede Valverde should be playing alongside Rodri, and Tchouaméni should be the guy that's coming off the bench to make the team more defensive, or just coming off the bench to rest Rodri if he's, you know, tired or just needs rest. Now, Jude Bellingham is going to be in the 10. I don't think there's any way, you know, shape or form any other player starts over him, not Arda. Even if Nico Pass came back, nobody was going to start over him. Now, the same applies for... Okay, see? I'm typing his name and my microphone wants to leave the chat. The same applies for Vinícius Jr. My bad, guys. Vinícius Jr. Because the mic literally left the... Why did he get that surgery, bro? Let me not even speak about it. Honestly, man. Honestly. Now, the striker is going to be Mbappe. Right wing, of course, would be Olise, right? It would be Olise, but there is so many other options we can make this work. For example, if Jude Bellingham gets injured, or if Olise is playing in the 10, or if we have Arda Güler in the 10 and Olise on the right. I genuinely think if Olise played for... I mean, look at the lineup. Look at the lineup. If Olise signed for Real Madrid, I don't even have to wait until the end of the video. I would rate this signing a 20 out of 10. I don't care about the money. If we have the money, we can spend it. Are we going to be in financial trouble? No. We always have money, guys. Let's be honest. We always have money, and he's a young player. It's not like, you know, we would spend 150 million on Rodri, and he's a player that you, first of all, can't get anything back from because of his age, and, you know, there's the possibility of injuries. Michael Olise is not injury prone, he's not old, and he has not shown, you know, any signs of declining anytime soon. He's 24 years old, he's at the peak of his, career so far, and I think he can get even better, and he has shown that he can definitely play at the top level, where he literally cooked us at the Allianz Arena, if you remember, and even at the Santiago Bernabeu, which he was sensational. And then the connection with Mbappe. There is a French connection with Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Konate. There's already so many French players. I think, you know, his adaptation to the team wouldn't take long at all, because he would just have so many people that either speak his language, and as we all know, Olise has played in the Premier League, and he is mostly English speaking, if I remember correctly. I don't even know if he speaks French, to be honest, but he must have a little bit of French in there, bro. But he can definitely chat with Jude Bellingham, guys. Now, how does it affect Arda Güler and Endrick? That's I think how everybody is looking at this from this point of view, because let me tell you something. If Olise joins Real Madrid, Bobby Charlton, man, Endrick, I don't know what is. I genuinely don't know what is there for you at Real Madrid. I don't know. We keep disrespecting you. We don't trust your potential. We don't trust your ability. Honestly, guys, it might just be time for Endrick to move on, man. I know the dream is there, but if we sign Olise, let's be honest, how many minutes is he getting over, you know, Valverde on the right, Olise on the right, Arda Güler on the right? What if Franco Mastantuono doesn't even go on loan? Guys, there's so many players. He genuinely, guys, I know there's injuries and the stuff, but we don't really have injuries in the attack. Apart from like Rodrigo, which is an ACL, which he had like 2 injuries this season, fair enough. But I don't remember Franco being too injured after the first 6 months. Arda Güler is basically never injured. But I could genuinely see Endrick getting like no minutes in 5 games in a row if Olise joins. Because Jude Bellingham is going to be playing most of the games. Then we have Valverde, who's going to be probably rotating with Tchouaméni, and Camavinga is going to be, you know, the more on the bench player that can get some minutes maybe later on in the game if he actually stays, which there is multiple rumors suggesting that Camavinga actually wants to stay, and nobody at the club has a problem with Camavinga staying, because they just believe he can get better under Jose Mourinho, and he's still young. And then Olise on the right, Vini on the left, Mbappe as a striker. Honestly, guys, I think we are set like this. If Olise joins, and we have, you know, Arda Güler as the option on the right, Endrick off the bench, I think it's great. But for individual development of Endrick and Arda, this could be a huge difference in their individual development, for sure. Once again, Tchouaméni, I think with Valverde, I think it's just a case of what Jose Mourinho wants to do in a certain game. If we want to be more defensive, if we want to have 100% certainty that we're going to have more of the ball, and we're going to have, you know, I don't know, maybe more attacks, we will have more chances created, sure. Why would you not play Fede Valverde at that point? Because Rodri I think he can be a single pivot, or, you know, the lone 6 in any game, honestly, guys. But in those games, I think he can do it for sure, and Fede Valverde just is better attacking-wise, and he can also defend, sure. If you have to defend more, if you're going to Wanda Metropolitano, playing against, I don't know, for example, Bayern, PSG, any other big team, you know, that will have more of the ball, will attack more, will have great midfielders, you will play Tchouaméni to have more defensive cover, to unlock Rodri even more, because Rodri on the ball is just sensational. Under pressure, he's sensational. I talked about this yesterday so much, and I think Rodri can make this team so much better. I just hope he stays fit, honestly. I just hope he stays fit. On the Olise side, I don't even have anything to say, honestly, guys. Does he fit the team? Yes. Do we need a right winger? Yes. Does he play well with Mbappe? Sure. Why wouldn't he play well with Jude Bellingham? Jude Bellingham makes final third runs the most outside of, I don't know, maybe any midfielder. Any midfielder. He has so many runs into the final third, so many runs into the box, touches into the box. You know, he's so great at finishing when he gets into those positions and when actually somebody can find him, which was a huge problem for us. Jude Bellingham's best feature, I would say, is, you know, he is so relentless. He's so relentless. He's so all around. But as a midfielder, he is so elite at finishing and finding the spot where to be in the box or outside the box. He's almost like a poacher in the number 10. It's just crazy, but we didn't use it at all. We used Arda as a 10, and we used Bellingham as an 8 in some games, and then we have Valverde next to him. It just didn't make sense. The midfield had no balance, and I think Olise actually brings more balance. The only thing is, Vinícius, Mbappé, Olise, the pressing in that front three is close to minimal, honestly. One guy would have to say to himself, okay, the other two are just not gonna press. I have to do something, bro, because we're gonna lose. If it's not for Valverde in the midfield, we already know Tchouaméni is not the craziest of pressers, if we're gonna be completely honest. Olise has to be helping Trent defensively. The same goes for Vinícius. If Olise is not helping, he has to be helping defensively, especially in these, you know, pockets between the midfield and the attack and the, you know, the opposition's fullback. But if Olise, you know, stays a little bit more back, which I think he does pretty well, honestly. He can take on his fullback, he can slot into the midfield, he can invert it, he can be a touchline winger. He does everything so well, honestly, guys. And if we need him to be substituted or just shifted position, we can even do this. Put Olise in the 10, Jude Bellingham can play in the 8, or, you know, Jude Bellingham can go as on the bench if he needs rest, and then we can put, for example, Endrick. This can be, you know, one of our like strategies in the game, because Michael Olise is sensational in the 10 as well, as we can see in the World Cup. Do I think he will be playing as a 10 at Real Madrid? Hell no. He's definitely going to be more of a right winger, and then it's actually going to be, you know, Arda in some games, or, as I said before, the untouchable Jude Bellingham. Now, guys, last thing I want to mention is that Endrick, I don't know, man. I just don't know if it's time, you know, to maybe look for another loan, or maybe just because okay, let me ask you this before we end this video. Do you believe that Endrick will have enough room in this team with Michael Olise, Tchouaméni, Valverde, Arda, Bellingham, Rodri, and, you know, just other guys like Gonzalo Garcia, even as a striker, because Endrick can play as a striker, or like a, you know, not really a striker, the forward in the team. Do you believe he develops? Do you believe he gets enough minutes, enough confidence, you know, under Jose Mourinho, for him to fully develop and be one day a starter at Real Madrid, or a really, really good player that can be used as a rotational, or even, you know, the role of maybe even Rodrigo, which he didn't start every single game, but when you need him, he's gonna be that. Can he ever be that for Real Madrid with the amount of minutes he's gonna get if Michael Olise joins? I don't know, honestly, guys. Let me know down below as well. If you would sign Olise, how much money would you spend on Olise? The two questions are gonna be: are you gonna sign Olise? For how much money would you sign Olise? Maximum amount of money that you would spend on Olise, and would you even sign him? Yes or no question, because some people are gonna say, you know, their transfer value Mario, but they might just say, I don't even want Olise. I want to give the chance to Endrick. And I think that's completely fair. I would have done that before, but I just rate Olise too highly. If the you know, the transfer fee wasn't so crazy, I would have been saying yes to Olise already. That's just my opinion. This was the predicted lineup with Rodri and Olise. If there's any more rumors, we can do the predicted lineup as well. We can even do, you know, a wage structure for those players. Just let me know down below any ideas you have, or anything you want to know about these deals, these rumors, these news, because there's a lot of them coming out. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to know my full opinion on this team for every single player, as I already said, watch the Rodri video that came out yesterday. It's going to be a similar type of video, just talking about it from a point of view how the whole team is affected, not just the right side and Michael Olise and the players in his respective position. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out.